doing. They're attacking Genk's strengths and weaknesses at the same time. The disc quickly touched upon it. Like, Gameward has this draft where they can punish one misposition, and the only games Genk lost in the group stage is when they mispositioned slightly, is when they made a small mistake. And I'm looking to Robba, and I know this guy loves to play for his team, loves to pick champions that aren't maybe strong as a blind pick or are just facilitating the team. And I see Gameward with an Ari-Vi Akali ready to dive the living daylight out of Robba's Ornn, and I'm getting scared.
If you'd like to play with me, you'd better be sure you know the game.
Minions have spawned.
Okay, so apparently the people at home can't really hear Duckling at the moment, so I'll just take over from there. Duckling, he was very kind to welcome me to the stream. I don't know when it's fixed, but I'm sure production will
I should be here now.
Oh, okay, you're here now. Welcome, yes. Duckling. It's my turn to welcome you to the stream now. So you were saying that Genk had a good run in the groups against GDXL, but let's be honest, GDXL looked really shaky, right, with running up to EU Masters, while Gameward, they're a team that are used to taking a lot of punches. You look at teams like Vitality B in their own region that play really aggressive early games, and Gameward is a team that basically soaks that early game up and then comes online 15 to 20 minutes in game. So these first couple of minutes for Genk are going to be crucial. If they can keep the momentum going in a sort of equal way, then they have a chance. But if Gameward runs away with this comp, then I think it could be a really quick game for Gameward.
And the early game we'll be keeping our eyes on, in particular, Akaban on the Vi, someone who likes to do stuff early on. Vi is certainly a champion that likes to do this as well, of course. So we're keeping our eyes on him. Where will he go? Where will he put the pressure? Maybe towards the bot lane, because one of the strengths you mentioned to me, Dino, for Genk, it is that bot lane Tiger and move. They really need to get rolling. And with this draft already, Orcs mentioned in the draft, this series is going to have a hard time playing this game. If they put it behind early, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah, so the bot lane for Genk is basically their cornerstone where everything is built around. Tiger and Moops were way better than their opposition in the Elite Series as a unit. And you can see now they are dropping the prio because Gameward has like better wave clear with the Sivir, more aggressive engage with Nautilus. But the plan here is to just stay competitive. They are really hard to attack, definitely if they get to play stuff like Sivir Yumi. But of course, on blue side, Gameward opted for that Sivir themselves. And what happens then is that Tiger will always be semi-online come the team fights. And you will see that if they have an opening to really push hard on the bot lane and make plays around the plates, even with the Rift Herald, they will probably give it to Tiger as well. So I'm looking forward to Tiger showing that performance. I think in general, we just have to be proud of our boys. But Gertas is looking for a gank in the top lane.
Yeah, looking for an early gank. There has already been thrown down the Shroud, so nothing really Melonic can do. No flash either, and first blood for the Benelux.
Robba just takes first blood on the Ornn, and you can hear in my voice that I'm very happy about that, because Melonic actually threw down in draft. He picked up the Ignite, no flash on Akali as well. And Gertas and Robba just saw the opportunity to play around topside, which is something Genk almost never does. The do-or-die game against GDXL was so weird because Robba suddenly picked out a pocket pick Nasus that he hadn't practiced before, by the way. And they won the game off that curveball. And now they throw a second curveball, playing away from that bot side and actually making sure that Robba will have a better time in the top lane. He did burn his flash, but he got a TP out of Melonic as well.
Yeah, it's obviously a massive win getting the first blood regardless, and Weathers getting success on that first gank, already starting to get a little bit of gold. This is in his own pocket, of course, meaning he will be even stronger. Wukong that gets ahead early is certainly a scary feat. And now in the bot lane, a small fight as Camillus actually forced the flash away. The gank bot lane looking for the fight and winning in the fight as well.
And it was good timing. They don't really have the vision, but Akabane was in the bot side. He just reset and then they go in for the play. Very well played there, even though if you see that there's a lot of vision control for Gameward, Tiger and Moops showing that aggression that they have and showing they're not afraid. And this is very important. You have to realize we are a minor ERL, the Elite Series, and we are up against the LFL team. But Genk is a team that has the confidence to try to execute like this top gank.
Yeah, but this time the Shroud, though, is available for Melonic. Didn't use it an initial trade, so he's able to use that, buy some space, and get out to safety. Small trade in the mid lane will go on. No one here will, of course, die as the man on Chocolate so incredibly low. And let's see what Akabane is up to. He has been spotted. The pings have come out, but the mid lane still his target here.
Akabane has had a little bit more time to clear his jungle out. You see he's level 5 and 38 lost hits to Gerta's 31 because he has been topside twice now. And it's up to Royal Canin to match that pressure as well. As you say, Akabane was spotted out. Camilius, he, after the reset, roamed towards the mid lane, so it was a dire point for Genk, but they're surviving, and this is what Genk does best. They play a very controlled game, and they try to play around pressure of Gertas in the early game. As you can see, Gameward, though, they are prepped for it. They have a lot of wards up here in the jungle of Genk. They actually see where Moops is, and they had a ward, but it just despawned on the wolves as well. So it's Gameward trying to make sure that they know where Gertas is at all time, while Genk is now responding to the aggression in the mid lane.
Yeah, so nothing really happening, as you say, in the mid lane, but the pressure is there. The people are there to make sure no one will be going down in this trade, as Chocolate very smartly with this little spellbook. It changed out to the mana 1 clarity and healed up a little bit in that sense. So was able to push the way, was able to keep the pressure on Royal Canin, but taking it down towards these objectives. There is now a Drake on the map and has been for 1.5 minutes time as Camilius continues to put this pressure on the mid lane. But with Moops and Guertas around the Drake, and maybe even Camilius as well, he could get locked up. Guertas will be there to follow, but not enough damage, so they back off. But keeping our talk on the objective, what are we expecting from this Drake? Are we expecting any early fights from maybe Genk who want to try and push that early lead that they have?
You saw that in the mid lane. There was a lot of emphasis on getting that wave crashed for the Ahri because both mid laners already used TP. Nobody really had the pressure. And you can see that this is now used as a crutch for Akabane to invade the red buff. And I don't think Genk will make a play around this early dragon. They don't really have enough pressure in mid and bot to take it safely. And at this time, Gertas is falling behind quite a bit, covering for those lanes and trying to get that flashless Nautilus out of the river and out of the jungle. And Gameward, they're actually formulating a gank in the top side at this point because Akabane has been so deep into the enemy territory.
Yeah, still no flash on Rob, be aware of that. It's coming up in about 10-15 seconds, so Gameward need to go now, and they certainly will as the perfect execution comes through. Shuriken flip, it's cleanly timed, 5-point strike, and there is the cease and desist. Rubber, still no flash, it's a few more seconds away, but will get taken down beforehand.
And you see that Gameward knows what's up against King. They know that they need to control the jungle matchup, get Akabane ahead a little bit. Tom Sonic was talking about it on in the desk that Gameward really plays through their lanes to enable Akabane to make plays like this, invade on the enemy jungle, get the red buff, and then catch Robba out of position. And in that regard, they actually rectified the early mistake in the top side, and now they are starting to accrue a lead. They have 400 gold lead over Genk, and they are moving that gold lead towards this Rift Herald.
Arrow on the map only for 20 seconds before it falls for Gameward as a good jump connection to Royal Canin, but nothing else, and a little bit of poke as Chocolate will be making his way up towards this blue buff, get that, and in that extent also be able to keep the pressure up in this mid lane.
And it's a bit of a sad story in draft for Gertas. I think he defaulted to Wukong quite a lot in group stage. I think his Wukong is fine, it's not an issue, but his Vi looked really scary as well. But once Gameward locked in the Sivir already, Vi becomes less of a priority because of the spell shield being able to block the Vi ultimate. And then you look to Wukong because it's a bit easier to deal with champions like a Sivir on Wukong. But you give Akabane his fine, who he has been amazing on during the group stage for Gameward. And I think the Gameward shows that they put respect on the name of Genk, and they put respect on their playstyle. They have been aggressively warding the enemy jungle and putting vision forward, playing around Akabane, and making sure that with the push of the Ahri, they have enough maneuverability to actually make those plays work. And that has put them in the lead now. It's only a 500 gold lead, but they also have that Rift Herald. And for Genk, this is dire times, because normally they're not really a team that plays around Dragon that much, but they play around the Rift Herald really well. And now they need to make sure that the Rift Herald play from Gameward isn't as big as it can be.
Solar Flare already coming out here, very aggressive on towards Camilius. Flash forward as well from Moops. They want the fight, but Royal Canin is caught up by the cease and desist. But Robert comes down with the on horn. Camilius left to the wolves as he will be taken down by Royal Canin.
And that's a good roam from Robba. You see that Genk is ready to fight around this vision because Robba is coming down now. At the same time, you give Melonic free farm on this Akali that had a bit of a rough start. Now has an assist for 48 lost hits already, 84 rather, I'm sorry. So he will be scaling towards a very powerful spike. Probably get his first item pretty soon and make Tiger's life a living hell. But at the same time, it's good to see that Genk is formulating answers. They are rotating their players across the map, trying to catch people off guard. The sad part is it's only Camellias that falls. The Ornhorn, the Call of the Forge God, wasn't that great in that exchange. Could have been a bit better, but in the end, it's still Genk getting their second kill and getting some control back of the things that Gameward was doing to them.
I started up the Drake here. Gameward looking for Guertas and Royal Cannon on the way down. First item already hit, and the Emperor's Deride puts Checklets right back into the fight, and he gets taken down instantly. 2k HP on the Drake, so Genk, they get a massive player kill and a donated Drake. Thank you for the leash.
Oh, thank you for the leash, thank you for the kills, and thank you for a lead on Royal Canin, because Genk struggles to be online if Royal Canin is behind, but he is 2-0 up now. Crown of the Shattered Queen already made on this Azir, because he will be taking a lot of punishment in fights. You have a very hard dive combination of Gameward that will put out that damage, and as long as Tiger is safe here in the bot lane, it's actually a bit weird for Gameward to go for that dragon. You just had that play in the mid side that went really well for Genk. They took control over that river, but Gameward actually did still feel confident enough to go for the dragon, and Genk is ready to punish, and that's what we like to see.
And let's talk about Royal Cannon for a minute. Obviously, he is a Benelux player at this point, playing for KRC Genk, but just last split, he actually did play in the NLC for M&M. They had a great start to the split that really showed what he could do. I think they went like 4-0, 4-1 at the very least at the start, but then coming in towards the latter half of the season, it really fell apart, that M&M roster, and weren't able to qualify for the playoffs, but have really rejuvenated his career here in the Benelux, showing strong performances and being 2-0 so far this game. Certainly are saying of things to come.
Definitely. And you see Moops and Gertas linking up. This is what they do a lot of times to see if they can make some plays happen around the CC combination they have. So Melonic should be a little bit more afraid here, clearing out vision, but he's actually going for an invade on the red side now. Royal Canin, as you talked about, he came from the NLC. We completely embraced the guy here in the Benelux, but I need to mark my words because there's a fight breaking out in the mid lane.
Guertas has been spotted, but he's not aware, so might be engaged upon here from Akabane, as Melonic is also around the corner, but the Q misses, and a good flash from Guertas gets him out for now. The Herald will simply get a charge 2 plates, and that's really all they get out of it.
They also get plates in the bot side, and that's a bit worrying. And Inex dropped a 20 bomb, as Ox said, on the desk on this Sivir. He got his 2 career pentakills this season on Sivir as well, so you need to watch out for that champion in his hands. But back on the topic of Royal Canin, his highs are very high, but his lows are still really low. I think he struggles a bit with stressful situations, with new situations. So this first game, getting his footing in his first knockout game in an EU Master playing stage, it's really important. And seeing him start 2-0 gives me a lot of confidence for him going forward in the fights. He will feel comfortable. He will be able to make the plays, because if he is rolling, he's a really scary mid laner. But at the times where stress gets the better of him and he's put a bit behind, he really struggles to have an impact. And if you look at the composition of Gameward, it's so easy to focus Tiger. If he's the only threat, you just press a few ult buttons and the Zeri will probably die. But with the Azir also online, even though you're running into a big gold deficit now after the plates in the bot and in the mid lane, Genk still has some tools come the next team fight, come a dragon play, come a second Rift Herald play. And I'm looking forward to Royal Canin, who is now the most fit member of Genk, to make an impact in that fight.
I really think you're hitting on the right notes, right? For KRC Genk, they can't rely on just one person to have a monster performance to get them into the main event of the Amazon European Masters. You need a whole team performing at their absolutely best, and 2 carries is essential, as you say. So I'm very happy to see both Rappa also performing so far, Guertas being able to find the assist, Moops roaming. It seems like Genk, at the very least, have come to play, and while they are a bit behind in gold and they're playing against the LFL, by far the best ERL, they are at the moment competing, and that's just a huge step for the Benelux.
Definitely, and if you look at the comps as well, the scaling is a bit on their side. I mean, Sivir is a monster in late game teamfights just because of how Ricochet works right now. So you're still afraid. You still have a lot of assassination potential on Gameward with an Akali perfect execution on the backline with Akabane going in and then Chocolat following up with the Spirit Rush. But at the same time, Genk should feel comfortable if they keep the lead pretty close. The next 5 to 10 minutes are going to be so crucial because the champs of Gameward are fully online. One explosive team fight could be a clean ace at this point in the game with resets for Chocolat and the hard engage they have. And that's why you see Genk posturing around this Rift Herald, not want to give this away, because if Gameward run away with the game in the next 5 minutes, which they haven't been known to do regionally and at the European E-Masters playing stage, then Genk gets into trouble really badly. And you see that Gameward knows this because they aggressively walk up again, get Melonic a shove in the top side, move him out, and then play around the Rift Herald, because if they take this, they can use that as a crutch to get a very, very big gold lead.
You can see smartly Genk giving this up, not contesting, knowing that Inax hadn't been spotted on the map. He was hovering around the mid lane, so if a fight broke out, he would be able to arrive within 10-15 seconds, whereas Tiger is just pushing in that bot lane, getting more gold for himself. So smart play here from Genk, who now actually look to invade and maybe punish a rotation from Gameward, who are trying to get down and defend that bot lane turret. The red buff, though, will be stopped. The Squirtus actually goes in the 1v2, but a lot of damage already coming out from Inax. That's the clone, though, he's hitting some Squirtus, not quite down, but moves already forced to flash in the damage from Inax. The boomerang just spinning around, Squirtus caught out as well. Cease and desist, baby. 2 kills for Gameward.
Oh, and it's a disaster scenario for Genk. They were trying to answer the Rift Herald play in the top side. They start invading bot side. Pings go out to the tower in the bot lane. Pings go out to the dragon. But I think Moops and Gertas bit off a bit too much. They couldn't chew quite through Inax, Camellias, and Akabane there. And now Inax is also online. At the same time, you lose your mid tower to the Rift Herald. Herald Kanan needs to watch out because Camellias is in the mid lane.
He does have the flash. He goes golden with the stopwatch. Flashes over, but Chocolat will simply follow. Not trapped in that Emperor's Divide. Camellias is, though, actually, and should go down there. You would have to feel, but Rubber's damage is kind of limited. Let's see if he can Spider-Man himself out of this one, as Camellias does have the dredge line, but a flash from Rubber will secure the kill from Tiger, so they get something back. But that's the thing about Gameward. You mentioned it, right? They just get everything as soon as they get something. 2 kills, mid lane turret, kill on mid lane as well, so that's 3 kills in total, actually. Drake as well down in the bot lane. They just take everything as soon as they get a little bit.
The problem, the main problem here is the amount of control they get over the map now with the mid tower being down, and you see that Genk is already struggling to cover all the vision that Gameward puts down, struggling to make sure they match the moves that Gameward are making. And I think for Genk, they went a bit too aggressive on the bot side invade in the jungle. They did give Tiger the free tower in the bot lane, and we need to watch out for him. He also just picked up the kill on Camellia, so they do have some shining light at the end of the tunnel right now in the hands of Tiger. But again, the comp from Gameward is so good at shutting down one carry. You need multiple carries online, and at this time, Gameward is actually dictating the pace right at the time where you expect him to do it. They take a step back in the early game, but once you hit 15 to 20 minutes, then Gameward comes online.
Yeah, let's talk about Gameward a little bit here as they continue to put pressure down on Genk's jungle. This is the first time the organization have actually ever made it to the Amazon European Masters, but that does not mean they are inexperienced. The players here have made it far. Akabane Melonic on Big made it all the way to the semifinals last year, only losing to Carmine Corp. The back-to-back Amazon European Master Champion Chocolat has won the whole thing before with Aggio Rogue just a couple of years ago, and Inax, he's been to Worlds, for crying out loud.
Genk is looking really aggressively in the mid lane at the moment, even TPing in Royal Canin. Rob on a sort of flank at the time, but you see that at this time, Gameward is just playing a 1-3-1. They're ready for the play. They peel back. They're not in a danger of being dived. Then you have Ahri and Akali free farming, and this is going to create a lot of chaos for Genk to navigate, because if they are in the 1-3-1 situation and Genk is trying to rotate to attack side lanes, the comp of Gameward becomes so dangerous around vision. It's just like one champion out of position and you instantly blow them up. But as you said, it's a good team, Gameward. I mean, they have players that have been around the block in the ERLs. I mean, Inax even went to Worlds. Camellias, he was on Mouse Sports that had a decent run in E-Masters as well. And you talked about Melonic and Akabane losing to Carmine Corp. They lost 3-2 against the winner of the competition last year. So they came so close, and I think that's just a scary fact. It's like LFL 4th seed is this stacked. going into the tournament, we haven't even seen their first and second seed perform yet.
And as Royal Cannon needs to be a little bit careful of walking straight into Camilla. She actually falls into the trap. Sonya's no board, so that means he can buy some time for Guertas to do some damage with the Cyclone TP and as well from Rubber. They want to turn the play around, and they successfully do so. Chocolate can't quite be predicted. They'll have one more rush away. Solar Flare connects, but not quite enough to CC him up, only slow him. So Chocolate able to get out with the Ghost and the Flash. A lot of summoners used here from both sides. In the end, though, Genk get the kill.
I would love to say Checkout put on his best dancing shoes, but it was a pretty hard fight there for Genk. They tried to predict the dash with the Call of the Forge God. That doesn't happen, and then Solar Flare goes a bit wide. So a lot of investment from Genk. Yeah, you get the kill, you get some pressure relief, but in the bot lane you have an Akali that's getting a bit out of control, really getting a lead in the last hits, pulling down damage on your tower, level 13 already, and Gertas needs to be careful because Melonic came to play on one of his favorite champions, and he will be around in this game actually threatening your backside as well. So for Gameward, it kind of sucks to lose that fight in the top side, but if you see the investment of Genk and what they get out of it, it's one kill. You even get the top side tower, you get pressure in the bot side. Look at those internal towers of Genk. The secondary towers in mid and bot are almost down, and Gameward, they are kind of dictating the pace. They are kind of dominating this game. Genk is doing their best to stay alive and doing their best to keep that gold lead pretty close. It is coming about to be a 3k gold lead. It's 2.8k at the moment, but that's okay if you look at the scaling of Azeri and an Azir, and definitely if you look at how much gold they have. Yeah, your top side, they're far behind, but that doesn't really matter because they're just a setup for those two carries.
Exactly, the carries are competitive. We've already talked about Royal Cannon, Tiger as well here being the main carry throughout the group stage. So as long as those two are alive, they should be happy enough. But let's see if they can survive this Drake. It is second Drake for both teams as they've all gotten one apiece. So a fight might be breaking out. Looking at the summoners, Chocolate no flash, but does have the Spirit Rush who can create distance. Inax will be very hard to catch, more importantly, as he has Ghost, Flash, and the ultimate available. Melonic though on the flank.
Genk really wants this fight, and this is what they have been doing at the Amazon European Master Playing stage. They don't shy away of fighting better teams around objectives. Moves on the flank, but also Melonic.
Looking for Tiger, but does not quite connect on the E though, but they just cease and desist him. He's already used the flash and the heal. Ryan Cannon though, untouched, and now it's him who has to do the damage. Akabane goes golden with the stopwatch to buy crucial time for his team to dish out the damage. Inex still alive, and he's doing what he can. Good damage though from Royal Cannon as Melonic is almost down, but Royal Cannon goes a bit too far forward, and there was a close fight in the end, but a triple kill from Inex will seal the fight for Gameward.
It won't only seal the fight, it feels like this is the straw that broke Genk's back. They will go to the Baron and they will probably finish that one off pretty quickly as well. I think Genk, they put up a fight around that dragon, but it's a bit too much. Melonic on the flank already instantly on the backline, already targeting Tiger there. Robba will see what he can do against this Baron. Sadly, no unsealed spellbook for him to take up the smite, but the Baron damage is a bit too much, and this keeps Genk in the game actually. That's a good sign for Genk, because that fight went a bit awry.
And Royal Cannon, man, I feel so bad. He was really performing well, really good positioning, but when he saw Melonic's H-bar tick down to the last couple hundreds of HP, he went a bit too far forward, and that in the end was the straw that broke the camel's back, as you said. Still though, Genk in the game, that Baron damage in the early 20 minutes did save them there. NX taking quite a bit of damage from it. They don't have enough as well to just burst it out, so Genk alive for now. And talking about team fights, I also want to try and get into the late game scaling point here, because when I look at Assyrian and Azir, I see a lot of late game damage. Do you think they will be able to win some of these late game team fights if we go into the 40-30 minute mark?
The problem is keeping the fights long enough. You see the last fight, it went pretty okay. As you said, maybe Royal Cannon got a bit too overeager trying to confirm one of those kills. He could have backed off there. As you can see, he still had the ability to use his dash away. But if you look at the summoners invested, you have flash heal down on Tiger, you have a flash down on Royal Cannon, Moops flashed as well. You see that they need to invest a lot to just deal with the pressure. If you look at the build of Royal Cannon, it's just pure defense up until now. He didn't even have the Nashor's yet last fight. He just went Crown of the Shattered Queen into his Zhonya's because he knows he's going to get dived upon by the comp of Gameward. So it will come down to making those fights last long enough while peeling 3 to 4 threats of your backline, and at the same time, you now have a 3-item Sivir. Infinity Edge finished on top
yeah.
of the Kraken Slayer. Sivir will just hit every single champion trying to peel away from the engage, and that's the biggest issue. I think Inax, it didn't look flashy, but in every single fight that went Gameward's way in a hefty way, it was Inax picking up the kills, and he's now so far ahead of the curve that even though you maybe have some peel with an Ornn, with the peel back of Gertas with double Cyclone, you probably don't have enough to keep Inax at bay. And the gold lead of 4.3k, almost all of that is going to be in Inax's back pocket, and he's the scaling member of that team. If you look at him, he's 2k up almost on Tiger already. He's a full item up on Tiger, and that's the scary part. But because even if you deal with the dive somehow, you're not hitting the backline. Inax didn't even flash last fight. He only used his ghost.
Yeah, I mean, you're highlighting completely correctly, right? Because while Royal Cannon was positioning well and was able to play the fight for a long time, someone who was not was Tiger. He juked the Shuriken flip and kind of denied the initial engage from Melonic on the flank, but instantly afterwards, Chocolate, he went forward, Akabane went forward, and then they just locked him down. They have so many tools to deal with a singular member that it's nearly impossible for Tiger to be able to juke it all. And much of it is point and click, and let's see what Chocolate can do here actually. He's caught in the 1v2, trapped between the Emperor's Divide, a flash away. One more auto would do it, and the shutdown comes through, but moves. Dies on the other end, and now two members of Genk caught between a rock and a hard place, you could say, as Gameward are coming to collect the kills. Royal Cannon, can you get out? You're the important member. Dashes over the wall. Inax could follow. Goes golden to deny the Dredgeline and Depth Charge, as Inax with the damage should be able to take it down. Royal Cannon doing what he can, but not enough, as Tiger might have been looking for something there. In the end, though, Baron on the cards here for Gameward.
Yeah, Genk looks for a very aggressive play there in the top side, trying to catch an Ahri, but Chocolate buys just enough time there with the stopwatch that he had. Tiger trying to contest this, Melonic going on Tiger. This should be an easy fight.
It is clean, the perfect execution, everything connects that you would ever needed to connect, and that means only Rappa is there to watch the Baron fall. Inax will secure it alongside his team. It's a great performance here from Gameward in the team fights.
It's the problem that you have when you collapse a side lane against a Sivir. You need to execute it so fast that the enemy team can't really get there with the on the hunt. It's not fast enough. It's due to how Chocolate was able to buy time. His Everfrost was also huge under the tower, making sure that no one could actually get onto him when he was defending that position. He needs to be careful now because he burned a lot in the last fight and he's pushing a side lane on his own. But you can see how comfortable he is, how confident Gameward is at this point in the game. The game has been going on long enough with them in the lead that they are really solidifying it at this time. The third dragon will probably not go to Genk, and it's just due to Genk trying to make something happen from the back foot, trying to make plays in the top side, but Gameward punishing without remorse.
And now, Dino, you as the Benelux expert, what can Genk do to try and come back in this game? Because Baron, 27 minutes in, Inax, 3.5 items. What really can Genk do here?
Genk can't really do much anymore. I mean, the problem you have now is you have a 2 carry comp that is so far behind against this all-in from Gameward that it's already really hard to peel for them. And then you have a 5-0-4 Inax Sivir that is just... rubbing his hands, looking at the next pentakill of his career at this point in time, but it will probably be stolen by someone like Melonic or Chocolate doing a bit too much damage. So for Genk, it's just you're basically trying to keep your baseline. If you're playing tower defense right now, funnel resources into Tiger and Royal Cannon, who are having a decent game, but you have no control anymore over the map. You can see that Gameward just sets up vision, they push inside lanes, they are now knocking on your door, and it's either you go for desperation flanks like this one.
Oh, Huertas barely jukes the dredge line in the end, though. Melonic is in his shroud, so he's safe from pretty much anything. Turd gets summoned here from Royal Cannon, as maybe Gameward wants to fight Chocolate. Not there, though, and Royal Cannon barely misses on the slide and glide into an Emperor's Divide, so Akabane able to get out to safety.
That was a sad one. The Emperor's Divide not really connecting to Akabane. You see that Genk is just looking for picks, looking for strays out of position, but Gameward isn't giving them an inch. And you see how much damage Robot takes in like a mere second. He's supposed to be your tank, but Inax is so far ahead of the curve that he does a lot of damage in those exchanges. Genk is trying their best to defend those outer towers at the moment, but they need to be careful because they're being split up by Gameward.
Melonic looks for a little bit of a play here, as the top side is where the fight really erupts. Flash away from Mooks, and he's alive for now as Royal Cannon desperately tries to defend the turret, but is unable to. really, as the Baron buff and Gameward are simply too much. They're 8k gold ahead now, Dino. It's looking rough for the Benelux representatives, but they are not giving up, and fair play to them for that. Obviously, best of 3, remember, guys, so there will be another game after this at the very least. And maybe, just maybe, Genk can pull it back.
Of course, and don't forget, like Gameward had side selection, they used the blue side really well. I think Genk also ego-checked a few champions like Akabeane's Fai that he has been performing on in this tournament. But you see that Melonic, he doesn't really need to do much on Yakali, he's just split pushing, and that makes it that he's up 2 levels on Robba, 3 levels on Gertas, and he will be that backline pressure that they need. And while Royal Canin gets caught in a very awkward position in the top side, even though you have the Ornn upgrades now, it looks like Genk is pretty much in the ropes this game.
That is 50 seconds of your main damage dealer, the guy who has 4 kills in his back pocket, almost 4 items as well, and now to defend. 30 seconds still. This could be the base broken open. Luckily for Genk, the Baron has worn off, but that does not mean they're unable to push. A lot of the wave clear was also on Royal Canin, so Guertas and Moops will do what they can. Tiger is on his way. This 4-man of Gameward look for this as Guertas will be taken very low. Oh, that's actually the only father is able to survive though, so Robert taken down to half. Moops actually goes back in. It's a 4v5, but somehow Genk actually wants to fight this. They get a 1-for-1 so far, but now Inax will simply look to run them down. Tiger is running, Melonic is chasing, but in the end, Genk able to keep 2 men alive. Royal Canin up in 2 seconds as well, so Gameward can't end, but they open the base.
Canin has to be. I want to see if he wants to go for an aggressive play. I don't think so, because it's a bit too harsh there. Good defense there on the tower, using the CC, trying to make sure that the tower is actually a 5th member when you're down your carry. The problem is the Sivir. You saw how much damage it's doing. Lord Dominic's Regard now already finished. 506. It's just those ricochets stacking twice on people in those fights are going to do a bit too much to the backline of Genk, and that's the problem there, because actually the front line put on a heroic effort trying to defend that tower, but the backline is getting shredded at the same time that the front line is getting shredded, and Tiger couldn't really muster much of a defense. Now the Ornn upgrades are coming in, so you get some gold value back, but the fact that you're almost 10k gold behind, it doesn't really matter that you have the Ornn items right now. You still need to buy 10 to 15 minutes to be able to compete or really catch out someone like Inax in a fight. So for Genk, it's good to see this. They have been very stable this game. They haven't been run over by Gameward, but it's also once Gameward got that slight lead in a few of those fights, once they invaded too much on the bot side on that Rift Herald play, they just took complete control and never really gave Genk an inch.
If I were to offer a silver lining, it's the fact that Royal Canin is almost at 4 items, the 4th being the Rabadon's Death Cap as Moops. Let's get hit here by the Charm. Check that. Might want to go forward, feeling himself and feeling confident in this game, of course. Might be 1 and 3, but he has definitely had an impact. You can see it on the 8 assists. 2nd most on the team and 2nd most in the game as well. This game will just continue to have the pressure, and Baron spawning in 20 seconds. Does Gameward need to fight it?
Genk doesn't really need to fight it. Gameward will probably just instantly take it. Now, they did put some time and effort in getting vision control on the top side. So this looks like they don't want to give this Baron for free. Because let's be honest, you already have your inhibitor down in the top side. If you look at how much vision Genk has riddled in this jungle, they just want to be able to walk up and actually put on a fight. But it's going to be hard. They can't really collapse on the Akali on the side lane. Akali is pretty safe, can buy a lot of time. They can't really collapse on Chocolat on the side lane. So Gameward, their best plan of attack right now is to just go spend money they have, make sure their waves are fixed, have Sivir in the mid lane just shoving that wave on repeat. And if you look at the top side, you will have Super Minions just barreling down that lane. So for Genk, they will be split across the map, really hard for them to answer the side lanes, and then Gameward can just start the typical Baron dance where they start a Baron, make sure Genk arrives, and then engage on the arriving Genk.
Gameward really showing the strength of the LFL here. You mentioned earlier, imagine, this is the 4th seed from the LFL. This is not even the best that the LFL has to offer, and it's such a stacked roster, and they are playing League of Legends very well at the moment up against the Benelux representatives as Robert gets caught around the Baron. That tank is not really tanky, let's be completely honest. Inax though, actually locked up, he might go down. Inax, he's golden with the stopwatch, has the flash, but he needs to get out. He's gone. That's Inax, that's 90% of the damage away from the side of Gameward. Melonic, you get 1, but you will go down as well. Genk are doing it, they got the fight, they got 3, they can get the Baron.
Only Chocolat and Akabane are left. They do have the ultis available, so Genk needs to be very careful, but it's a 2-carry situation against 1. The Charm already goes wide, and you look at the ultis, Genk has almost nothing left, but they need to go for this Baron.
Tiger on the other end of the wall. Chocolate dancing into the fight, and he gets on to Royal Cannon. He goes golden with stopwatch to buy cruise.
Look at Tiger, look at Tiger.
Away, reposition. Look at Tiger, as you say, he's dishing out the damage. They're doing it. Genk, they get the 8. They will get the Baron. They're back in it, baby.
And how, in what of a manner do they punish Gameward? They walk up with Robba just soaking damage, and Gameward, they see a pick in their eyes. It was such an easy game situation for Gameward to play. You just go for the 1-3-1 and you bait them towards the Baron. But when they're clearing vision, Genk collapses, they look for the place, and this is what they do well. They keep their heads cool, and somehow they get their composition online. You were 10k gold behind. Now that's suddenly only 6k. You have a Baron to buy time in this game, where you have an Azir and a Zeri looking for full items. And it's Inex's first death that spells the return of Genk.
1k gold with that kill on Inex into Royal Cannon's back pocket as well. He's full build. He's the first one to reach that mark. He is
He's
even
the most
stronger
gold in the game
than
almost.
Inex. Vods needs to be careful. Do not get caught out now, Genk. You might be back in the game. You are back in the game, actually. But still, the game can swing both ways. We know the damage Inex can do. You need to catch him one more time. He's made the mistake once. He will need to make a mistake again. Genk, you just have to be able to find the pick. They need to get Inex. It's simply the recipe for success.
It's the recipe for success. At the same time, Gameward wasn't in position to really collapse on the backside. Genk is trying to use his Baron very aggressively. Chocolate on the side already to answer, but this is what Genk wants. They want to force a 5v5. They're using this Baron to try to get a 5v5. The only problem is Royal Canin has no defensive summoners up.
Guardian Angel as well now at Inex, so he might not have the flash, but if he gets caught out again, he will be able to resurrect. He will have a second shot at finding his way into the fight or out of the fight. And out to safety maybe as they lock up Chocolate. He will be deleted.
He's dead!
But that's not the main carry. Melonic clearing out the wave. It's a good pick. A very good one at that even. But still, eyes on Inex now. He has to do even more than he did in the previous fights. The GA will have to be massive. There is no flash on him. No flash on moves either though, so he can't easily close the gap. Maybe Robba can do it with the flash. The Ornhorn as well. Dino Genk. They're in the game.
They're not only in the game, they stayed in the game for so long that just getting one pick isn't enough for Gameward anymore. Look at the items of both Royal Canin and Tiger. Tiger isn't full build yet, but he's pretty close. He's looking at that wit's end, and he's trying to make sure that he finishes it. They are resetting to play around his soul. I think Genk, maybe if they were a bit more aggressive, they could have played for the inhibitor, but this is what Genk does. They take the safe route, and they take the 80, the 90% plays once they get a lead. So they are now controlling the vision around the dragon, knowing that Gameward will probably walk up and try to make a pick happen.
Let's be completely honest, Gameward are not undefeated at this tournament. The only LFL team so far to drop a game against the White Dragon, so we know them seeing their base go down. It's not an unthinkable thing, not an imagination world we would be living in. Genk have almost closed the goalie. The goalie doesn't really matter. Full items on Inex, full items on Royal Cannon, the two main carries, but also Tiger. Just needing half an item more.
It's now 100% down to teamfight execution, to the execution around this dragon. If you give up the soul, you give up a lead that Gameward doesn't have at the moment. Look at Melonic on the flank. He's going to wait there, try to jump Tiger, and make sure he bursts all his defensive summoners. But Genk, you lost the game previously here almost, and they're going for it again. The dragon is already burst down, but can you survive the fight?
It's Melodic on the flank yet again, but look at the damage from Inex. He gets caught up though, shoved back in with the Emperor's Divide. Inex though, still running, still alive. Not even the GA has been popped. Flash forward from Guard as he tries to get him, but he can't. Royal Cannon, it's all on you. You don't have an 80 carry as Chocolate gets locked up, but no damage to follow up. Genk, can you do it without Tiger?
They just need to get out, but look at Gameward. They're making sure that there is no escape route. Chocolate and Inex both carries alive. They can easily win this fight. And the problem is that Tiger, he got collapsed by Melonic. TP in. Oh no, this is it.
He will have full HP, Robba down to half, Royal Cannon down to half, Melonic, no perfect execution, but he can still look to find it as Chocolate chasing down moves on the other end. Royal Cannon tries to trade back, he needs to kill Inex, this is now, he gets him into the J, Robba, can you get the E into this knockup? Right when he spawns, there's still no flash, no, that actually is, but he's down, Royal Cannon's still alive, he's on 1 HP, Melonic should be able to take him down, perfect execution from him, as he finds the main carry of Genk. Continues to chase forward. TP in from Chocolate down towards the bot lane. They might want to end the game. Tiger up in 5 seconds. Vods as well I don't think they can. They will look for Robba instead.
Yeah, they just need to take down Robba, keep the dead timer staggered.
TP?
But Robba's trying to TP out.
Oh, it's Soas, baby. He does the
He makes
Soas.
it.
I can't believe it. This game, Dino. Do you
What
believe
is
it?
happening on my screen? This is like, let's be honest. The Elite Series, the past EU Masters, we were the smallest hero of them all. We were the punching bag of everyone. We didn't show up. And now we get knockouts out of a group where GDXL is in there, where the first seed of the GLL that was supposed to go to main state right up until the tournament started was in. And we are up against the LFL 4th seed and putting down this performance. This game looked over after that last fight. Genk, they showed some grit. They went for that dragon play. They flipped the fight. But again, the flank of Melonic on Tiger made sure the fight was over before it even started. Tiger did keep his flash though for the next fight. And somehow, with just sheer luck, passion, and the belief in themselves, Genk navigated that fight without losing too much. And the game is still going on.
More importantly, the GA gone from NXO in the next 5-6 minutes. I mean, he can't resurrect again. Baron is just spawning. I can't believe it, Dino. They might actually be doing
My
it.
heart can take more of this.
I
This is the
can't
first
take
game
this
of
either,
best of
man.
three.
I can't. And let me be completely blunt here. The Benelux has never taken a single game of an LFL representative at the Amazon European Masters. This would be history for the Benelux. Not just winning the series, but one game. Anything is record-breaking for the Benelux representative as Moobs looks for Chocolate, who doesn't have a flash but does have the Spirit Rush. Oh my god, the damage from Royal Cannon. Melonic though, on the flank, we need to be careful. If he finds it, he could find Tiger and Inex as well. We know he can shred through them, we know that he can. We've seen it in the fights already in this game. Melonic though, still sitting in the bush now, will be spotted. They maybe try and jump on him and get him out as the Baron has been started and it's being melted by Royal Cannon.
They need to make sure that they navigate Tiger into this Baron pit, make sure that he's not in an issue. But this Baron, that's just an instant take. And it's so good to see that Genk, they're trying to force the 5v5s. They're walking through the mid lane using the Azure turret as an extra safety. And then they collapse on the flank twice. First they get Chocolate's ulti, which is huge at this point in the game. And then they make sure Melonic isn't there. Oh, Gerta's going in.
Yeah, Guertes is looking for the kill. Camille's already gone. Eyes on Inex though. The damage on Tiger is massive, and he will be seized and assisted. Royal Cannon, it might all be up on you. But Chocolate finds him with the jump. He's exhausted. He's down. Tiger, you have to do it. He has to go big. He has to have his big moment right now. He jukes the charm. Inex still alive. It's only Tiger that remains in Gameward. You can never count the LFL out. They find 4 and only lose 2.
Oh, and this could be game. They're gonna push for the end. Look at how long the dead timers are. They have a wave in the mid lane as well, and they have a Sivir. So towers are just like paper. Only Tiger is alive, but one charm will be the end of this game. Tiger trying to get into position to actually poke them out. But Gameward, it's the clutch plays of people like a Chocolate that are making the difference.
20 seconds. TP for Chocolate as well, so it'll be full HP on the 3 damage dealers from Gameward. Tiger, I don't know how you will be able to withstand this. The miracles now need to come through more than ever for Genk. They made it close, but they could not turn it around. Gameward shows the LFL strength as they take game 1.
It's heartbreak at the end. It looked so good for Genk. They were controlled.